Okay, and we are live.
Right.
Fantastic. So, this is the first live proper podcast interview for the Bracken Outdoors podcast. And I think I've got the best guest I possibly could for it.
Oh my goodness.
I've got Asa Hardy-Brownlie joining me on here from Forest School Assistance and Support. I'm not going to quite call you a guru of Forest School consultancy, but you're getting close.
I don't know about that, but I do my best. Do my best to help people.
Well, welcome anyway.
Thank you.
So as you probably know, if you've listened to a few of my other podcast episodes, I'd like to start with a bit of a background. So, would you let us know what um, what brought you to the place you are now? What kind of
Well,
ignited your forest school journey and got you with?
absolutely. So, it all started when I was 15 or 16. This is to go way back on the background, but 15 or 16 years old, I discover that bushcraft is a thing. And the exciting outdoor childhood I'd had before that now had a name and loads of exciting projects and cool books and cool TV shows about it. And off the back of that, I spent a decade just absolutely immersing myself in bushcraft completely. Towards the end of that decade, I got a job in a special needs school as a TA, and an opening came up for an additional forest school lead to join the team full time. And it was kind of known around the school that I was a really outdoorsy guy, and I was approached about the job, and they said, "Oh, we'll pay for you to do the level 3 forest school training and stuff." And at that time, I had heard the expression forest school, but like many people, it was kind of a familiar term, but I didn't know what it was. I thought it was like school outdoors or outdoor learning or all these different things. This was back in 2017, 2018, and yeah, so I immersed myself in the training, had my mind absolutely blown, shadowed the leader that was at my school, went to a load of his sessions to see how he was doing it. Yeah, qualified in 2019, 2020, and yeah, had been running sessions since 2019 while I was qualifying, and I spent the next 5 years, yeah, having a really amazing experience teaching forest school full time in an SEN school that kind of specialized in behavioral SEN and challenging behavior. So I got a huge wealth of experience from that. And then a couple of things changed. Or there was a couple of factors that came into play. So I got an additional colleague, and I helped him a lot informally with his qualification and sort of giving him CPD and training and stuff, and trained him up. And he ultimately became my replacement, because what happened then was I had an amazing holiday to Norway, climbed a load of mountains, met a load of great people, ended up in this beautiful village called T and Krysse in this region called Filefjell. And I just asked asked this guy that we were staying with. I said, "Do you ever need some help? Because I'd love to come and live out here. This place is unreal." And and he was like, "Yeah, we actually do need help." So that was what started the process of me relocating from Norfolk, where I was living, and doing the forest school in the SEN school, and then relocated to Norway after a lot of rigmarole, 18 months of visa appointments and back and forth and everything like that. And um, yeah, so that's kind of like the really comedy background how I ended up in Norway. And then that's relevant for where forest school support came from, because I'd helped this colleague of mine informally in a load of ways, also helped a family friend both decide that he was going to pursue a career in forest school, and then source some training and stuff. And I realized that I had quite a lot of unique experience from the SEN background that I'd had, and the full time, like really intensive forest school I'd been running in an ancient woodland, and also my bushcraft background. And when I moved to Norway, that was like the really exciting new thing. I'm going to be in the mountains, and immediately, I think I left my school job in July with a plan to move to Norway in November. And by October, I was missing forest school so much that I was like, is there a way that I can stay in this world, that I can stay in this community? And keep my professional skills up, keep my awareness of what's going on in the forest school world up, and everything. And what I settled on was, well, I've helped 2 people and they were really happy with the help I gave them. Maybe I can help other people, and maybe I can help other people for money. Who knows? So I posted a single flyer that I knocked up in about 5 minutes on Adobe Express. I posted it in 2 or 3 forest school groups, and it was a really simple flyer, and it basically said, like, are you wanting some help with forest school? Do you have a practice and you don't know where to go next? Are you wondering if you should do it? Do you need some ideas? You can speak to me. And from that one flyer, I got my first 3 clients. And very quickly after that, I was like, that is fantastic. It's really fun. It's really rewarding. People seem really happy with the support I can offer them. And here I am staying immersed in the forest school world from Norway. So then I thought, okay, I'm gonna keep going with this. I'm gonna keep posting these flyers. I'm gonna see what happens. I'm gonna keep putting things out. And the more I was kind of posting and advertising in the forest school groups, I was coming against a lot of backlash from the admins, rightfully so, for like, who is this guy just advertising all the time in these groups and posting these flyers? So I thought, okay, what if I took a break from advertising in all the other forest school groups, and instead I'm going to pivot and I'm going to make my own forest school group for people that just need help and support. So that was the decision I made. I made this group with this intention for it to be this free, really supportive, really positive community, and it immediately exploded. I think I had my first 1,000 members in the first month, and now I think I started the group at the end of November, and now we are closing in on 6,000 members. And through that group, I help people, and also through that group, I advertise my own services. And I've gone from being this guy called Asa, who will chat to you about your forest school for an hour. And now I have a load of different offers and packages that I put out. I'm under the guise now of Forest School Support is the name of my business, forestschoolsupport.com. And it's gone from strength to strength, and I absolutely love it. I'm really enjoying helping people, shedding light on things, developing my own practice in order to help people, and just adding value to the forest school world, both through the work I'm doing and for free. I just love hanging out in the group and helping people. And the feedback I've got from people in the Facebook group is that it has been the most supportive Facebook group they found. I think some people have either been too anxious to ask in other Facebook groups, or they asked something and they got an answer from someone that wasn't nice. And I'm really keen to like moderate my group and make sure that there is no such thing as a silly question. You can ask a question that might seem to be a silly question, but I'm going to find a way to answer it that treats you with respect and treats you with positivity, and we'll find a way through together. That's my ethos. So that's me now. I'm living the dream in the mountains, building a business out here, and helping my Norwegian friends to build this fantastic accommodation and guiding business in the mountains. And then in my spare time, I'm helping forest school practitioners to improve their provision and enhance their offering and their own professional practice and everything. So yeah, that's me. I hope that made sense. I feel like a really long, convoluted background, but yeah.
That was great, and I'd say that you've fixed that balance quite well with the Facebook marketing, and I can kind of understand where some admins come from with that. That I mean, some of the Facebook groups, I mean, we're seeing a massive growth, I think, in that kind of forest school sector. There's a lot more people trying to sell to forest school leaders, and that does mean that a lot of the groups you just see it's a long stream of advertisements for different businesses and everything else. And after I've seen the same book advertised 20 times within 1 month, I start to kind of switch off a bit and go, okay, let me go somewhere else. But I think you're hitting the balance really well with the forest school assistance and support group. Let's say there's that opportunity for people to get in there and ask questions, and they do get answered, and you take part in answer there. There's other people in the community who get really involved in helping these people. And then there's, okay, well, here's this option if you'd like to take it further, to get more in-depth, to get more personalized one-to-one feedback or group feedback or consultancy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really appreciate what you're saying about the group and about the balance, because I work really hard to strike it, and I can really empathize with the admins of all the forest school Facebook groups, and indeed anyone who runs any Facebook group in any sector, because people do advertise in them. And how you police it is up to you. There's so many different ways. Some people have like a blanket ban on adverts. Some say you can post once a week. You can do all these different things. But ultimately the thing is, if a forest school Facebook group has too many adverts, people stop interacting with the stuff in the group. And once you stop interacting with stuff in a Facebook group, the Facebook algorithm removes that group from your newsfeed. So sometimes I get reminders that I'm in Facebook groups I joined 10 years ago, and I haven't seen a single post in one of these groups in 8 or 9 years. And it's because I stopped interacting, and Facebook went, okay, I'm only going to show this guy stuff he wants to interact with. Because if he's interacting with stuff, he's on the platform and he's viewing the adverts and the Facebook ads, as it were. So yeah, it is a really hard balance to strike. And one thing I really take pride in is that the Forest School Assistance and Support Group, I made that for me to have a place to help people and advertise what I'm doing. But also, I want it to be a place that other people can help, of course, as we see all the time, and also to advertise what they're doing. I'm really happy for people to advertise if it is of benefit to forest school practitioners. I draw the line when just from my own morals and my own ethics. Sometimes there's like outdoor learning that gets absolutely shoehorned in there. It's like, check out my Maths in the Woods worksheet pack that you can buy for this much. And it's like, well, no, that's not forest school, so we're not advertising that in here. But if it's someone advertising an amazing CPD course or an amazing podcast that they've done, or I always welcome people to post it. And I just say to people, like, don't abuse this rule. Like, don't post 10 times a day on the advert. Just get it in. And and if it's a good advert, I'm going to interact with it and be like, this looks awesome, nice work, or whatever it might be. And the other thing I really like is, because it's become a platform that everyone is helping each other. It's not a platform where people just come for help and then I give help. Sometimes other people get to the post way before I do and answer everything or say everything that I could possibly want to say about it. And other times, lots of different people come in with loads of different opinions. And I'm really happy that even if there's like hugely opposing views on quite big subjects, we always seem to have a really healthy discussion, healthy debate in the group. So that's fantastic. And one thing that I will say as well about the kind of the advertising of my own service is that sometimes in the group, people have been like, oh, why are you charging to help people? And it's like, well, if you look back, someone asked what, the best kind of fire steel was, and someone asked for some book recommendations to develop their forest school, and someone asked this. But this person who has asked, I want to set up a forest school business, how do I go about that? That can't be answered in a comment. It cannot. It's hours of discussion and planning and goal setting and reflection and everything around that. So those are the kind of things that you do have to say, well, this is something I can't help with for free. This is something that we would have to take into a consultation call. But I'm always going for helping people for free first, because I really believe in the value of giving and stuff. And everyone seems to be in the group, everyone that I'm interacting with and everyone that's posting is just so happy that there's a place they can come to and say, I'm really struggling with this, can I have some help? And people come in. So it's fantastic. It's really good. Yeah.
It's one of the big challenges of the space, and something that I talk about a fair bit as someone who's trying to make it all work and trying to make a sustainable living and everything else, is that kind of there's a lot to be said for giving back. And I personally, if I try and make sure that I'm commenting and helping people at least 5 times more than just posting an advert or something, because I feel like there should be a bit of giving back to the community. There should be kind of give and take. And I provide a lot of the stuff that I do for free, a lot of the advice and everything for free. But there is a point where there needs to be a bit of a line, and we're kind of going, okay, we are actually working at professionals, and I've spent 8 years and this many thousands of pounds or whatever building the skill set, and I will help people as much as I can. But if you're asking for significant amounts of my time and expertise, then we're exchanging value. You want something of significant value, so I'd like to get some value in return. It's kind of in that kind of exchange of value and professionalism around it.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you read Gary Vaynerchuk's book, Jab, 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 Right Hook?
No, it's not one
It's,
of them.
I really recommend it to anyone that is has a forest school business or a forest school provision that they advertise on a social media space. It's fantastic, and the premise of the book, the guy that wrote it is an absolute social media guru and marketing man from the States. But the premise is he has this mantra: jab, 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 right hook. And the idea is that the jabs are the little punches, and those are the things you give. It's like give, 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 and the right hook is take. So it's like like you say about you do the 5-to-1 rule, or this kind of thing. It's like you want to give, 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 as much free value, as much support, everything that you can, so that when you do have something that you want to sell, people feel like, oh, this is a nice balance. This is fine, because I've seen all this back and forth and everything. It's a fascinating book. I really recommend reading it. On the kind of social media world, but it's exactly like that you're talking about. It's giving so much before you ask or take anything, basically.
Yeah, fantastic. So we do have a few more viewers. So if
Oh, hello
anybody's viewing
everyone.
on the live stream, if you do have any questions that you'd like addressed, I mean, you have two forest school and bushcraft leaders here, and I think we're happy to take on things we can fit in a reasonable amount of time. But so if we just start, Lisa, so
Yeah.
you've probably over a couple of months now started to get a finger on the pulse of what's troubling people. What would you say if you had to kind of pick kind of three or so big areas
Yeah.
that most forest leaders are either struggling in or trying to advance in? What kind of direction would you say?
Yeah, so there's lots of different things, and people do come to me for all different reasons. But I've realized that there's kind of is it five or six kind of different key areas that people are coming to me for, and some of them are completely unexpected. I never expected I would be helping people with these certain aspects, but a lot of the support I'm doing is around marketing and business at the moment, so especially for forest school business owners that they've absolutely got their head in a forest school game. They're loving it. They've got this amazing provision. They've got the woodland. They've got everything, but they haven't got any customers. And like other elements of their business maybe aren't quite sorted in terms of operations and marketing and stuff. And 2 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to help with that at all. But the work I'm doing in Norway is all marketing and operations. So I'm learning it within another business, and then I'm kind of the two are coming together with my forest school and my marketing and business stuff to kind of bring the support for that one. So a really big one is the marketing and business stuff. Another element is around session structure and activity ideas and curriculum, that kind of thing. Also, a lot of professional development discussions going on. So I'm quite often signposting people to other services. So people are coming to me saying, I want to get more experienced at X. I want to learn how to Y so I can offer Z to so and so group. And so I'm often like signposting CPD, and where possible, I'm offering it myself. I'm really excited in mid-September. I've got a forest school group from Wales, and they are coming out to Norway, and we're going to spend a weekend in the mountains doing forest school in Scandinavia, which is going to be absolutely wonderful. I'm thrilled about that. So CPD is a big one, and like the personal and professional development. Yeah, sessions and activities, marketing and business stuff, and also a lot of stuff around site and safety. So people want to know kind of how to organize their site, where to find a woodland, what their forest school should include, how to get resources and materials for their forest school, all that kind of stuff. And then a lot of people have questions about safety and risk assessments and handbooks, and yeah, so it's a real holistic kind of umbrella of support that I'm giving. But it's all kind of stuff. And actually one thing recently that's come up is I've been doing a lot of back to school preparation with people, because I know from my 5 years working in a school, the end of August is an incredibly anxious time, and often you need answers and you're stressed about how things are going to go and everything. And I've been helping the people a lot in the last couple of weeks with a lot of people are working in schools. They have Ofsted coming, or nursery settings, and they're really keen to do true forest school, but to show learning and development and progress and assessment and observation in a way that Ofsted is happy with. And that's something that I love helping with. I was really happy with the system I came up with at my last setting, and so was Ofsted. So we were inspected by Ofsted at the beginning of the 2022 autumn term, and the head teacher, he was like a huge advocate and an ally of Forest School, and he said, I'm gonna bring Ofsted. I can't wait. I'm gonna bring Ofsted to you." And in the report that they wrote, they rated the whole school good, and in the report they had some lovely things to say about Forest School as well. So that was really reassuring for me, and yeah, and motivating, and it felt like it really justified my practice and everything. So yeah, that's the last thing that I've been helping people a lot with recently, is the tracking of progress and assessment and observation within a completely child-led, learner-centered, however you like to talk about it, model, basically. So yeah.
Yes, the whole Ofsted and managing expectations it's a tension within schools, isn't it? It's very much there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure in schools from a lot of different directions. And increasingly I'm seeing that forest school leaders are kind of having to hold their own in there
Yes.
and actually keep fighting for that valuable play and child-led experiences without the curriculum turning into another piece of outdoor learning.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's a challenge.
It's extremely hard. And like, I was really fortunate to work in a setting. I worked under three different head teachers in the time I was there, but all of them absolutely adored what we were doing and saw the benefits in the classroom of the children having access to the forest every single week for 2 hours. And yeah, but I think some head teachers are not so supportive, and certainly a lot of people I've been speaking to in the last couple of weeks are incredibly worried about, head teachers putting extra demands on them and saying, well, actually, because we've given you forest school time in the curriculum, we have less time for science, so you need to be doing science in forest school time. And then they're like having this back and forth battle, and there's like all the misunderstandings about outdoor learning and forest school and the differences and things. So yeah, it's a big battle for people working in schools. And also, like when I worked at my setting, I think my biggest group was 15 kids. And when I had 15 kids, I had 11 support staff. So it was amazing, the ratios we had and everything. But most of my groups were 7 or 8 children. But then I'm talking to people who, you know, it's 40 kids all coming to the woods at the same time for an hour, and they have just the required amount of staff for the ratios, and it's stressful. It stresses me out just thinking about it. Yeah.
So what avenue do you usually recommend people going? Are there specific things? I mean, obviously the whole social and emotional side of things is really valuable part of forest school, and admittedly it's not a massive part of the curriculum or whatever. So you can say, okay, well, we're growing in this area, but it's a bit more of a struggle to kind of give almost academic um, kind of, or what's the word,
Input,
records
I guess.
and
Yeah, yeah,
achievements and so on.
yeah. No, absolutely. So my recommendation in terms of forest school is to show progress through the children rather than showing progress through outcomes, if that makes sense. I can explain a bit. So, for example, a lot of people try really hard, and some really do succeed, to say year 4 forest school looks like this. And then in year 5, we build on it like this. And in year 6, we build on it like this. And they manage to have child led and everything, and the flexibility and the input and everything. But it's a huge headache to think, how can I get this 8-year-old boy who wants to do den building? How can I build on that next year and next year and next year? Rather than saying, well, actually, maybe we're going to do all the den building we want to do right now. And next year, he's not going to want to do den building at all. And we're going to need to do something different. And then how do we show the progress that way? And what I did that Ofsted was incredibly happy with is, as I say, I took the kind of outcomes out of it, and instead I showed the progress through the children. So what I did was it was a very kind of informal observation and assessment framework, as in I just made it myself, and I just curated it myself and published it at the end of the year. But as a solo practitioner with these kids, I found that it was enough for me to be able to fully support them and to be able to show their progress as we went on. So I'll give an example. So what I would do is I would have my session plan, however it would look, and it was a really rudimentary Word document with 3 columns, but you can also do like a table with a box underneath. So you have the session plan at the top, and then you go out, you run the session as you planned it on your little session plan. And then as soon as the session's finished, ideally, but sometimes it's not possible, of course, get yourself back in front of the laptop and write down as much as you can about what happened. So I would write down how close the session was to the plan, or did it go completely different? What were the kind of key moments of the time frame of the whole session? What were the wow moments for the various kids? Which kids really struggled? All this kind of thing. And then underneath that, I would write the session plan for next week using the information I just got from the week I just run. So it might be like Jimmy and Elliot were really interested in the idea of making a place to store their swords. And so really wants to play on the rope swing again, and this and that. And I would think, right, how can I make that into kind of a cohesive session where everyone gets to explore their own things, and we could have a kind of lead element and a free play element and everything like that. And I would just repeat that week on week on week on week as I went down through the year. And then I would, as well as that, I would do before Christmas, I would write an initial report for each child that would say like, these are the things he's been up to. Like these are the facts about what he's been up to in this first term. These are the things he's done really well at. These are the things he struggled with. These are the things he's really excited to do. And then I would normally write 3 or 4 little targets at the bottom. So it's like, if he's really good at den building, I might say something like incorporate tool use into your den building this year, whatever it might be. And I'd go for smart targets, use a tool to support you in building a den, or build a den with a peer, for example, if it was a child who really liked building dens but didn't like playing with others. And then I would support that with photographs and all my written observations that I've done. And when a child met a target as part of the write-ups that I was doing every week, I would go and like cross it off their little report from Christmas. And if necessary, set them a new target if you want to keep them growing. And what you end up with is then at the end of the year, I'll do another report for the child. And basically how I do it, it's really simple. It takes time. It's a lot of work. But on Microsoft Word, I just Control F the child's name. And I take a note of all the key stuff I want to say on that end of year report based on my narrative observations and my wow moments that I've written. And then we finish the year. We settle up any targets that they've achieved, or maybe targets that are no longer relevant because they've gone past it. So maybe Billy doesn't need to build a den with a peer anymore because he's made a friend in his class and they go and do something else now, whatever it might be. And you evidence all of that. And then if necessary, set targets for the next year if you know you're going to have the child again. And what happens is, I had some of the same kids for 5 years, and that working document of that child's forest school journey shows all of the progress and you could possibly want without needing to show progress in curriculum. And how I backed it up is in my handbook. I just explained that like we're completely child-led. These are examples of activities we might do. So there was a little bit of a shape. It's like in autumn, we might do these activities. In winter, we might do these activities. And then, and then that's kind of backing me up on that side. And then all the reports and the assessments that I was doing there covers the progression of the child without having to show progression in the learning and the outcomes. So that's how I did it. And it doesn't work for all settings, and it doesn't work for the vision of all schools and the leadership and things like that. But that's how I encourage people to do it, because it's so much easier and so much more child-led than saying, in year 4 we're going to look at A-frame shelters, and then in year 5 we're going to look at lean-to shelters, and then whatever it might be. It doesn't work like that at forest school, So yeah, I like to build it differently.
No, it's one of the things that the education system has always struggled with, and was always that just bracketing children by age doesn't really take into account the extreme variability of development and interest and the whole shebang. Really, there's just so many different things, and you can't expect everyone to be at the same level. And if you give particularly if you're giving more leeway in what they can choose to do, you are going to get very different outcomes. As you say,
Exactly.
one
Yeah.
child might be really into den building and just do den building, and that is their thing. And actually, that is the thing that needs to happen. It's for them developmentally, if they want to make dens all the time, chances are that's what they need the most.
Yeah.
And what you're doing is you're saying, okay, it's great that they're doing this, but I'm going to see if I can move this further. I'm going to see whether we can build on this. We can take an interest they already have and scaffold it and keep going with it. So we're not, say, doing the same dens week after week, which from the outside eyes, even though it's still valuable, for outside eyes would be like, okay, well what's the point?
Yeah.
But when you're showing that, okay, they started doing this and then they all incorporated that. We worked in knots here, so their fine motor control improved there. We started talking about the weight of structures and how certain type of wood can support weight better than another kind, so on. And it kind of just builds and builds and builds.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think what was I going to say on that point? Oh, it's escaped my brain already. But yeah, it is so much better to be able to do it like that. And that was what I was going to say. Sometimes I give that advice to practitioners, basically exactly as you've said. You hit the nail on the head that you can keep doing it. Repetition is good, and also growth is good, and learning through failure and repeating the same task again till you get better and better is perfectly acceptable thing in adult life. We're expected to do that all the time, do the same thing again and again and get better and better. And sometimes I speak with practitioners and they say, yeah, but I've used up all my den building knowledge. I don't have anything else to do with them. And that's when I say, well, that's a CPD problem. That you now need to go and learn how to make something new for that child. And that was something I used to really enjoy. Was like one that really sticks in my head was this group of kids was absolutely nuts about climbing all the trees in the forest school. We had some amazing climbing trees. And there was this one tree that they were like, well, if we can get into this tree, then we can really climb it. Like there's a fantastic opportunity, but it's too high. And it was like one of the kids was like, oh, I wish we could make a rope ladder. And the first thought was, I don't know how to make a rope ladder, so we can't do that. But I was like, no, we're going to go away this week and we're going to learn how to make a rope ladder. So I did. And then having practiced it and done it, I then came back and we made the rope ladder and we had an amazing time. And I think that work is forgotten sometimes in the fact that at forest school we encourage the kids to be developing and we encourage them to be reflecting on their practice and working out how they're going to improve. But actually in the principles of forest school and everything that's underpinned by the training, we also need to be constantly learning and developing our skills. And that's how you get confidence. It's how you get new skills you can use, new ideas for sessions, everything. It's not just the ideas coming from the kids, it's also the ideas coming from you on your own forest school journey with the children. And that's what I absolutely love about forest school. And I think being willing to put in that extra work, which is hard, so especially if you work in a school and you've got all these other demands and stresses of life and bad work-life balance and everything. It is really hard, but I think being able to be humble and keep learning and keep developing yourself and taking the time to learn new skills all the time is how you become an outstanding forest school practitioner. I think is by doing that rather than just saying, no, my plan says we're only doing shelter building for 2 weeks this year, and then we're going to do the progression next year. And that's all I can do because I don't know any other shelters. It's like if the kids want to do shelter building all year, we've got to learn 52 different types of shelter, or we've got to learn all the different knots, or we've got to learn how to use the tools to make a cooler den, or whatever it might be. We have to do it. It's what it is to be a forest school practitioner for me, is that continuous learning and development of ourselves as well as the children.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I'm a massive advocate of bushcraft skills, and I realize that that is my background. But I think that bushcraft skills pair well with forest school, and
Absolutely.
that for too long it's been kind of two distinct camps, and we're starting to see that kind of crossover happening more and more often now, with the Institute of Outdoor Learning is kind of bridging that gap. I feel there's a
Yeah.
lot of forest school and bushcraft trained practitioners who have trained both avenues and now bringing those skills to bear,
Yeah.
and it gives you options for progression that you didn't have before. So most forest school training will teach firelighting with fire steels and cotton wool. But there's so much more that you can go with firelighting. For me, progression, you go, okay, start off with cotton wool, then you might work in some natural tinders, and then you can start playing around with flint and steel. You can start playing around with tinder bundles. And I've taken it all the way up to bow drill with some 8 to 9 year olds, and we've had massive success and massive fun. I mean, we've done it as a group, so we've differentiated a bit. And then some groups I'm working straight with teenagers, and they can go, they can pretty much do the same as adults at that kind of top level. And it's only by having those skills myself can I actually start moving the progression. And for me, those skills are vital when we're taking forest school to the older children, to bigger age groups, because when you're working with early years, there is a certain kind of ceiling to what you can do, because they're still quite young. They haven't developed the muscle strength yet, and haven't developed the capability. But then when you're trying to engage a year six group, or you're going for like teenagers, you really need to be on the ball and be able to offer something beyond just lighting cotton wool.
Yeah, absolutely. And I had a real eureka moment with this last night, actually. So I've just had a friend staying with me who's an ex-colleague, and he works in forest schools as well. And he also is a, huge outdoorsy guy, goes to Sweden all the time, really proficient bushcrafter, before everything else, and then picked up forest school later, much like me. And I think you probably see this as well, that I think having a bushcraft knowledge and doing forest school is the biggest blessing we could have in terms of our own practice, because it's it's not just about the skills that we can share and that we can teach. And often when we talk about the importance of bushcraft skills within the lens of forest school, a conversation that comes behind that all the time is like, forest school isn't just tools and fires. And it's no, it's not. But if you are really proficient with tools, if you are really good at firelighting, if you are a really confident outdoorsman with loads of bushcraft skills, you can run a really safe forest school session. Even if you never touch fires and tools, you've got a safe forest school session, you've got fantastic infrastructure, you've got a wealth of ideas and inspiration because you understand the woodland around you. And even like you're saying about the early years, maybe not being able to access stuff, I still think that early years children have better forest school if the forest school practitioner is also really proficient at bushcraft, because you're able to see opportunities coming up, and the thing that you can find in the natural environment that's going to be true to forest school and true to being in nature using natural materials, because you've got the skills. And that was a really great moment of our discussion last night when we were chatting. It's funny that we're talking about it right now, but that for me is the crux of the role of bushcraft within forest school, is about the knowledge and the confidence that you have being in the woodland environment. And I remember when I did my forest school training, I was with there was a big group of us. It was an in-person training, and there was several people who had been working indoors at a nursery for their whole career, and now the nursery wanted to do forest school, and they put them on the forest school course, and they were here. And they were really up for doing forest school, but so out of their depth about the knots and the fires and the interacting with the woodland materials and what's safe and what's not safe. And maybe there was some kind of taboo things, like one subject that came up a lot was like the idea of going to the toilet outdoors was really strange to them, and things like that. And one of these nursery workers said to me when I was doing my forest school course, she said, she just sat next to me, we were having coffee or something. She said, "Have you done a lot of this before?" And I said, "Forest school? No, I'm completely new to it." She said, "No, but do you really like being out in the woods?" And I was like, yeah, I love it. I've been doing it for a decade, and she said, I can really see it in how you hold yourself in the woods. I can see it. It was a really interesting observation, and I always think about that because I think that is the benefit of the bushcraft and outdoors experience. It doesn't have to be bushcraft. It could be, that you love going for walks in nature. You love, bird watching, or, whatever it might be, nature photography, or, you go camping every so often, or, every weekend you go for a walk in a new place or on the coast with your family. If you're comfortable outdoors, you run better forest school sessions. And I think comfort outdoors goes hand in hand with bushcraft skills and bushcraft knowledge. So that's my take on the bushcraft forest school thing.
Absolutely, and you're totally right with any activity in nature. Basically, if you're passionate about it, if you really enjoy the outdoors, you'll see those opportunities. Like my father, his thing is going out for walks and taking pictures of insects. He
Great.
he's developed this eye for it. He will
Yeah.
spot something that from 500 meters away, he'll be like, there's something over there. And he'll go and take a picture of it. He takes the most stunning pictures of insects. But he's now developed that pattern. And if he were to be in this space and leading forest school sessions, you can bet he would find the most interesting insects to bring to the group. And
Yeah.
that's where you just kind of bring that in. If you're into foraging, you go, okay, yeah, cool. We can get some elderberries and we can get some of this, and we can make an elderberry crumble. Or if you're into just walking and appreciating nature, you might have bits and pieces of natural navigation that you never knew you had.
Mm.
Or you even just knowing which trees are which and going, oh, this is an ash tree. Do you know what ash tree is in Norse mythology? And you kind of bring a whole different dimension to it, and you're passing on that excitement and that passion.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And I think when you have the excitement and the passion, you are able to impart that onto the kids, and it's contagious as well. So many times, you might find this as well. There have been forest school sessions or blocks of forest school sessions where I am more excited about the project than the children are. But my excitement about the project keeps the children coming to it. So I had one a couple of years ago. These kids, they were so much imaginative, socio-dramatic fantasy play, sticks as guns and swords and everything, and all like safe, violent play and everything, like running around the woodland. And every single week, it would be about bases. It'd be like, get back to the base. And then you like build the base, and like logs and everything would be different things in the base. And children would take different roles in the base, like chef or like the armorer or whatever it was. And over like the first term that I was working with them, they they kept building bases, but because it was a kind of organic, loose parts forest school kind of space, over my week of forest school sessions, every kind of base would be dismantled and moved and go, and then they'd come back the next week and be like, oh, what happened to our base? And I'd be like, oh, I'm really sorry, but this child used this for this. And it wouldn't be like their den would get dismantled in one go and be gone. It would be one week a kid, or one day a kid wanted to use one of the wooden pallets they were using, and one of the old tires that we had or something. So I said to the kids, like, what if we could build a base that couldn't be moved? And they were like, oh, that would be amazing. Have you seen Primitive Technology on YouTube? The guy in the jungle that makes all the cool stuff. He had
Yeah.
this. He built this roundhouse, and I watched this video, and I was like, those year six boys could do that. They could do that. So I the next week, not very forest school of me at all, but I brought my laptop to forest school and I said, watch this video. And we sat and we watched the YouTube video on my laptop in the woods. And the kids were just like, yes, I want to do that. I want to do that. But actually, it took us the other 2 terms to build the roundhouse. And in that time, there was many sessions where the only person that wanted to finish the roundhouse was me. So I had to balance like the children's free play that they wanted to do also with this roundhouse that we were building. But then by the time we'd finished it, and that was totally carried by my excitement and enthusiasm about building this roundhouse, the children loved it. And then it was right back to the games they'd been playing all along, except they now had this permanent structure on a slightly smaller scale than the guy on Primitive Technology had made it, that we could use for all manner of stuff. And it was then used by other kids, and it became a permanent feature of the woodland. It was amazing. So yeah, it's great how our own interests in projects keep things going. Yeah.
Yeah, and as I said, I think it's a valuable thing that we bring, and I think most forest school leaders and woodland leaders as a whole are massively passionate about what they do, and I think that's a massive strength in our sector. There's very few people just going along to get along. It's a passion, because it can be a struggle sometimes when you're out in the wind and the rain and the cold, and you've got to keep that passion. And part of that, as you said, is continuing that professional development. Go out and get inspired by other people, because there's so many people out there now. And as I say, it doesn't need to be bushcraft course. I know a person that I work with who's done lots of natural textiles, so basketry and whatever, and gone and done that, and they bring back things and ideas and concepts and just roll with it. So just go out and find some stuff that makes you passionate.
Absolutely. I love all that bushcraft basketry stuff. It's amazing what people can make from materials that are completely readily available as well. It's fantastic. That's something I'd like to learn for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I should get forage fibers or whatever on
Yeah.
the podcast to talk about it, but that should really be a video.
Yeah.
Anyway, so if it's all right with you, I was thinking we could shift gears now and kind of go to probably the scarier side of forest school, and if you're okay with it, talk a bit about your experiences with business and marketing and that side of things, because that's a massive area, and it's one that I'm still working my way around. I'm still trying to have a unified marketing strategy, and that's big.
Yeah.
And bringing things in. Oh, hi, Edward. Welcome.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, it's a really big and really overlooked aspect of forest school, and I'm very new to it myself. Like I say, I've only been doing it for the last year that we've been in Norway, because we have this amazing opportunity and this amazing center here where we've got accommodation and guiding and all kinds of stuff. And it's like, okay, this is great what we have, and the mountains here are completely beautiful. We have the glaciers and the reindeer and the ski center, and if you love nature, this is like the place to be all year round. And it's why I live here and I love it. Like, very often I look out the window of my cabin and I can see the reindeer like up on the ridge. And it's like, to live somewhere so wild is so amazing. But nobody knows we exist. So how can we tell people that we exist? That's been the big challenge here in Norway. And then through my consultation I've been doing with forest school business owners especially, is getting really into the marketing, and it's so interesting how our own kind of perceptions about what marketing is and our own perceptions about what constitutes as good marketing affect our perceptions about our own business and the worth of our business, and so much stuff. And I'm sure you found as well, sort of looking into marketing, it's like it's a real moment of like it's a Dunning-Kruger thing. It's like you come into it, you learn a bit, and you're like, wow, there's loads of cool stuff here. And then the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know anything, and there's all these other aspects. And it's easier to think that marketing is about price, or it's about your website, or it's about what the word of mouth associated with your thing. But there's so much more to it than that. It's about education, it's about human psychology, it's about the way that you talk about your own stuff when you're advertising it. There's so much stuff involved, and a lot of the work I do with the forest school support with the marketing starts at a place of a diagnostic almost. It's like, right, well, let's talk about what you're currently doing. And if people aren't doing anything, so nothing, I'm not doing anything to market my business, then that's a great starting point. Because actually, if you're not doing anything, you're still marketing your business, because marketing happens whether you do it deliberately or not. So you might as well control the narrative around what it is you offer and everything like that, because people are always looking at you and they're always wondering what's going on, and people sometimes, they want to know more, but they're not sure how, or they've maybe seen you a couple of times, but they don't know what it is you offer, so they don't know it's for them. There's so many different aspects that come into the forest school marketing side, and I really enjoy talking to people about it. And like an example of kind of people making an effort to do marketing without knowing if it's right or wrong, and this is where I come in to kind of reassure or say, actually, let's change direction a little bit and try and do this thing, is that people attempt marketing, for whatever reason it flops, and then they either never do it again, or they decide, well, then no one wanted to buy that thing anyway, or whatever it might be. And so often it's actually, no, actually we need to do more of the thing that you did, or we need to tweak this little thing about your business that's going to make it more desirable. And yeah, there's so many examples of things I could do. So one example was a woman came to me, and she wanted to set up on her own, and she said to me, I tried to run these sessions. I have this vision for this like integrated adult well-being forest school thing, and this thing with children. And I tried to run my first sessions, and I posted them on Facebook, and I put flyers up in my local shop, but no one came, so I gave up. And I was like, okay, no problem. Can you sort of send me the flyer that you had, and can you sort of show me where you advertised it on Facebook and this kind of thing? And it turns out she'd made this flyer, and it was a very beautiful flyer, but it was a wall of text that it was not apparent from just that momentary look at it what it was about or who it was for. So immediately I'm thinking, with my marketing brain on, anyone that saw this probably didn't take the time to read the wall of text because they didn't know that it was relevant to them and what they needed. And the other thing was that this amazing workshop that she'd planned and posted about, she'd posted it on her own Forest School Business Facebook page that had less than 100 likes, and she'd only posted it one time, and that was her posting it on Facebook. And it was like, okay, there's definitely some things to unpack and work on here. So with that example, it was looking at, first of all, we need to get your followers up on Facebook, and we get your followers up on Facebook by getting all your friends and family to follow you and interact with your stuff. That's the main thing, because the algorithm, as we were saying earlier, talking about the groups, responds to people that interact, comments, likes, reactions, shares, all that kind of thing. And also we need to actually restructure this wonderful flyer that you've made so that within 5 seconds of looking at it, you can decide, this is for me and this is something I want to keep looking at. And some other examples I've seen, again, it's a lot of forest school marketing doesn't show that it's for anybody, or that it doesn't give enough information for people to know it's for them. So I see all the time, you probably see them too in my Facebook group and other Facebook groups. It's we're running a CPD day and this is the date. And there's a presumption in the post that the person who sees the CPD day knows who the forest school is, knows where they're based, knows that it's only 10 minutes down the road from where they're living. But so many of these posters that I see don't say it's at so and so, in this county or this postcode, or at the top of the post it says Forest School CPD Day, but instead it could say Forest School CPD in Norfolk, or something, so that people in Suffolk, in Cambridgeshire, in Norfolk, in Lincolnshire are like, that's close to me, I can go to that. So it's things like that, and I've seen some really good results from working with people around some different aspects as well. So looking at a lot of people, especially when you have a forest school business, if you're just starting out, you don't have the money to invest in marketing, and you also don't have the money to necessarily give things away for free. And the big trap that a lot of people get into is that they really want to build their thing, but they don't have the resources to market it. And what I mean by this is, if you've got a huge budget and a fantastic social media ad, you could fill all your forest school programs. If you had the right advert and you were advertising it to the right people in the right places, you'd be fully booked completely. But it costs a lot of money to put your forest school in front of that many eyes and find the right people and everything like that. So a lot of these businesses that are starting up really struggle to get going. And one thing that I always recommend, and I did this myself when I was starting out with the forest school consultation, is I did a little bit for money at the beginning to see. And then when I worked out the format of what people wanted and what they wanted to get out of the session, which was in the beginning, I was selling a 1 hour consultation for a set price. That was it. And I realized that actually people wanted to chat to me often for more than an hour. And they also wanted an action plan so that it could keep guiding them after we'd finished talking, that they had everything. And also having an action plan meant that they didn't need to take all the notes in the call, so they could be more present and pay more attention to it. And when I realized that, to test if that was the right thing, I gave away 5 spots for free. So I posted in my Facebook group, I said, I'm giving away 10 hours of consultation and an action plan completely for free. Message me to apply. And then I selected candidates that were in a broad range of different forest school situations. I made a loss on all those sessions, of course, because I gave up all of that time for free, which in that small moment was a hardship. But all of the action plans I made are now on my website that people can look at and see what an action plan looks like. Also, every single person I helped wrote a fantastic testimonial about the consultation, a really honest testimonial. So it was a fantastic opportunity to get feedback for myself and to have something I could put out to other people. And the people then that had used my service became word of mouth for new people. So people posting in the group with a thing saying, Asa helped me with that and he was amazing. You should speak to him. Now, the importance of giving away stuff for free is also relevant for forest school businesses that have a provision, because I've spoken to a lot of people that they're like, I don't know how to get people in the door to see the amazing work we do. And I say, well, just have a free open day. Have a free open day. Do the best forest school session you could ever think of running. Do your absolute like flagship activities, cook some amazing food, play some amazing games, invite all the parents, invite all the kids, get out there and run it. And they say, I can't afford that. I can't afford to run a free open day. So a lot of the work we do is like thinking about, okay, how can we afford a free open day? Because I've seen some fantastic case studies of this now in helping people, where people that didn't have the subscribers into their program ran an open day, marketed it like crazy, posting in all their community, forums, and telling all their friends and family about it, getting kids down, posting it on like village notice boards, physical flyers in shops, all kinds of things. And there was one lady in the forest group who ran an open day and had 85 kids come. And from the back of the 85 kids, then, from there, if you collect all the contact details of all those people that visited, chances are, with some good follow-up and some great offers, 20% of those 80 kids will sign up for your program. So that's a really big thing that we do a lot of work around, is the idea of giving something away for free to get people in the door. And I think a really big misconception about forest school that I hear again and again is that there's too many forest schools. A lot of people say to me, I think the reason that no one comes to my forest school is because there's too many forest schools in my area and it's a saturated market. And I completely and utterly disagree with that, because I've been in the forest school world for, 5 or 6 years, and the bushcraft world before. And my experience is, when people ask me what I do and I say I'm a forest school practitioner, everyone's heard of forest school, but not many people actually know what it is. So people always go, oh, but what is forest school exactly? Is it like school in the woods? Where everybody say, no, it's like this, and we do this thing and we play, and people say, oh, I wish I had something like that when I was young. And then you get talking, and the conversation goes from there. And I would say that 1 in 5 people I talk to about forest school actually knows what forest school is. And the other 4 out of 5 have either heard of it but don't know what it actually entails, or they've never heard of it. So my logic is, therefore, forest school cannot be a saturated market, because 1 in 5 people that I speak to know what it is and the other 4 don't. And I think a really big marketing opportunity for any forest school businesses is in the business of educating first as to what forest school is. And I have to be careful, because I don't mean going into way too much detail about using all the fancy words and where it originated from and everything. I'm talking about really simply, like, forest school is children playing in the woods, exploring their interests, have an amazing time, developing, however you want to word it, in a way that you're target audience will learn what forest school is and then be interested. Because a lot of people I see on a lot of websites, it's very, very common to have like a what is forest school page on a forest school business's website. And so often it's like, forest school is a child-centered pedagogy that originated in Scandinavia. And the problem is that people don't want all that information. They want to know, but what is forest school? like they don't want all the fancy words and the academic lingo and everything. They want to know in real terms what it is. And I think a huge social media opportunity for forest school businesses is making social media content about what happens at forest school. And obviously that means getting the children and the parental consent to, you know, put the children that you have in your session on social media, but just making social media content about what's happening at forest school, not advertising your forest school, not trying to sell anything, just content that's like, today at forest school we built these amazing dens and these children did this thing and then we had lunch on the fire and it was amazing. I think that's the next step for marketing most forest school businesses, is actually just informing people about what happens at forest school, because there is still so many people who don't know what forest school is and what happens at forest school. And you can guarantee when people find out what it is, they want to send their kids there, because for whatever reason, their kids don't like going outside, or their kids don't get many opportunities to do that, or their kids are not at a school that has forest school as an opportunity. And if you have the right thing and parents want to do it and your price is right and everything, then it all comes together. So that's a really big thing. That's kind of again, I've waffled a lot there talking about forest school marketing, but there's all kinds of different things there that I see all the time in how we market our forest schools. And yeah, if you like, I can go through. I made a September checklist for forest schools to help them prepare for September and going back to school. And one of the sections on that was forest school sales. And if you like, I can go through the checklist now on the podcast just to describe it's like a little marketing checklist for every forest school to do. And if people want some beginner steps of how to actually systematically start marketing their forest school, I can go through that.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. I just wanted to interject there that
Yeah.
that was a really valuable piece at the end. I wanted to underline that it's, in marketing terms, it's knowing your market. And I've heard it talked a lot about as a cold, warm, and hot market.
Yeah.
So the cold are the ones that they don't even know that that they want that service. They don't, like, it's completely out of the realm. They don't know that that is a thing that would make their life better. And then there's people who are in the middle, they're warm. They're aware that it exists. They might be interested. So those are the people that you kind of catch if you run a Facebook ad. It's like, oh, I had an idea about forest school. I kind of know what it is. My children went to forest school before. Oh, I saw this ad. Maybe I'll go and take a look at it. And then the hot audience is the one that is searching in Google, forest schools in my area.
Yeah.
They know about forest schools. They want to go. Those are the easiest to recruit. You're probably recruiting them anyway, just by being out there.
Yeah. That's the marketing you don't even need to think about to do. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the warm market is that kind of they kind of know about it, but they need a bit more of a push. You kind of pull them in, and that's where you talk about your offering, you talk about the things that are valuable. And then you have the cold market. And as you say, the important thing there is to start defining what is possible, what it is, and why they should be wanting the solution. Because most people don't go from a cold I don't know anything about forest school straight away to join your session. That's a very big jump. It's very rare that you do that. If you go out in the world and you just walking along and you see a particular thing in a window, you don't immediately go and buy it most of the time, unless it's something that really, really, really captures you. So it's all about moving the people. Can I get people in the cold market into my warm market? And then once they know my warm market, once they know how great the sessions is, and that might be through an open day, they might become part of the hot market and they're just selling. But yeah,
Exactly.
if you could tell us a bit more about your checklist there.
I will. I will go through it for forest school businesses. What I'll quickly say first about the cold and the warm and the hot. I think it's really important as a key bit of takeaway on marketing for forest school, that not everybody is ready to buy all the time. but that doesn't mean they're not interested. So the idea of nurturing people, I love that expression in marketing. It's like, you have someone who, maybe they sent you an email saying, what kind of forest school do you offer? And you told them and they didn't reply, or they were like, okay, thanks, but not for me at the moment. That doesn't mean they're never going to buy. It just means that, they had a little interaction. They're kind of seeing what it's about. They're moving around, and you need, as a business owner, you need a way to nurture those people and move them from the cold to the warm to the hot. And because someone who was cold at one point, and then gently they start to follow you on social media, or they sign up to your newsletter, or they see your flyer in the local village shop on the board, they just start to think about it. And then suddenly, maybe one day their kid turns around and says, my friend's going to a forest school and I really want to do that. Can you find me a forest school? And they remember that they've had this little interaction. They've seen the thing, and all of a sudden they're moving from warm right into hot really, really fast. And then they're back to you saying, okay, I think I do want to sign up. But it's easy to go, well, they didn't want to buy anything, so I'm gonna dismiss them and leave them to it. So yeah, it is all about nurturing those people, and there is so much to learn and so much theory, more than we could ever get onto in a call like this. But there is so much to be learned, and I recommend any forest school business owner to take the time. Feel free to contact me, not to work with me or give me money, but if you just want some recommendations for marketing books to read, or some quick pointers on your social media, or you want me to proofread a flyer that you want to put up in your village shop, go for it. I'm really happy to help with that kind of stuff, and I enjoy it. But yeah, we can have a little look at my checklist. So the checklist is something that I made to encompass all elements of forest school September prep, and I ended up breaking it down into 5 different categories of jobs, basically, that you need to do when you're getting ready to go back to forest school in September. So we had preparing yourself, preparing your site, preparing your safety, preparing your sessions, and preparing your supervision was the key categories that we had, and they all begin with S. And then I decided, actually, there's another important one. So we have a bonus 6th one for forest school businesses, which is sales, which is basically marketing and all that kind of stuff. And I was trying to think, what can I put on a checklist for a forest school business owner who is knowing that they need to start thinking about how they're going to market their forest school, but they aren't sure in what order to do stuff or how to go about it. How can I make a little systematized checklist? So this is what I came up with. So the first point of this, I think, is to, in the context of your forest school, I want you to think about your avatar. I don't know if you're familiar with this expression, Bracken, with the marketing research you've been doing, but your avatar is the person that you are targeting with your advertising. And that's a really key difference, because we're not targeting children with our forest school advertising, because children aren't making the buying decisions about whether they go to forest school or not. We need to target the people that make the buying decision, the people that will be the customers, if you like, even though the children are our participants and our customers. But we need to target the people above them, which is usually the parents. Now, it's not always parents or carers or guardians that will be your avatar. It might be, if you're a freelance practitioner who goes into schools, then your avatar is a school or an institution or a setting or a nursery, whatever it might be. So the first step of marketing your forest school is reviewing your avatar. And I really like doing this work because it's hugely powerful for all the following marketing actions to know this. And the key with your avatar is to get specific as possible. So, for example, if I run a home education group in my county at my forest school, then I can say, well, my target market is parents. It's like, well, your target market isn't parents. Your target market is parents that have chosen to home educate. Okay, so now we're getting somewhere. So our avatar is a parent who's chosen to home educate their child. But there might be more to it than that, because maybe we have an age limit on our home ed forest school sessions. Maybe it's from age 7 to age 10. So now our avatar is parents who are choosing to home educate with children age 7 to age 10. But we're not advertising to all parents in the world that have chosen to home educate, that have a child between 7 and 10. We're choosing to advertise specifically to people in our county. So actually, I'm from Norfolk, so I always use Norfolk as an example. If I'm running a home education forest school group, my avatar are Norfolk-based predominantly. Maybe if I'm near a border, maybe it's the neighboring county as well. But let's say Norfolk-based parents who have chosen to home educate with a child between 7 and 10. Now we're getting somewhere. We've got a really specific avatar that we want to market to. And we can go even further, because we can say, well, I want parents who have chosen to home educate in the Norfolk area with a child between 7 and 10 that have an interest in giving their child nature-based education and forest school opportunities. Or maybe you go in a different route and you could say, I want to advertise to home education parents that are looking for some respite and they're looking for something to do one day a week that they can send their child to. Because these are key differences, because this will affect how we talk about the thing that we are wanting to sell. So, for example, if we go for the parents that are looking for something to do one day a week, then when we're marketing our thing, we need to put our forest school provision in front of Norfolk-based parents who've chosen to home educate with a child between 7 and 10 that are looking for something to do on a Thursday. So then we've got this really specific avatar, and you can go even deeper with this work. And I'm not going to for this podcast, but you can. A lot of people go even further. So they actually do an exercise, and I recommend doing this. Who is your avatar? Who really are they? Where do they live? What kind of life do they have? What work do they do? What's their household income? Because all of this work affects what you put in front of them. And by understanding as best you can the mind of your avatar, you can market to that mind if you have a real sense of who they are. I had a really good consultation with someone a few months ago, and she was trying to market her stay and play group, which was she was loving it. It was a really fantastic opportunity. And she was saying, well, my avatar is parents. And it's like, well, they're not parents, because it's a stay and play. So it's babies and toddlers. So we're looking for parents that have a baby or a toddler. But then actually, when I talked to her about it more, it's not actually parents. It's always mums coming with the baby. So we can discount fathers if we like in our marketing, and we can only target mums with a baby. And then it's like, okay, where are they looking for stuff? Where are they likely to see marketing material? Is it on the village notice board? Is it on Facebook? Is it on Instagram? Is it on TikTok? Where is it that we need to run these adverts to get people to see it? And again, where are they based? And the reason that this work is really important is when we advertise something, a bit like I was saying before about the flyer with too much information, or the flyer that doesn't immediately call to you, the idea of having a call out in your marketing is how you hook that person's attention. So if I have a flyer, and then the biggest writing at the top of the flyer, it says forest school stay and play sessions for toddlers. That's quite a catchy headline. But if it said Derbyshire mums come to our forest school stay and play session with toddlers, then as soon as they read Derbyshire, I'm a mum and I live in Derbyshire. What's this? And they look more. And I really like, this is a little bit of a tangent, but again, I'm super into the marketing at the moment. But an advert as we think of it, like an advert on the telly or an advert on social media or anything like that, has three key components. It has a call out, which is the thing that gets your attention. It has the advert content. And then at the end, it always has a call to action. So it has some way that they get you to interact with the advert next. Buy now, visit store today, order a pizza on this number, whatever it might be, visit our website, link in bio, whatever they say, that's the call to action. And I read this fantastic book by this American entrepreneur called Alex Hormozy. He's an absolutely fantastic marketing guy. And he says in the book, if you want to learn how to run successful adverts, watch every advert, never click skip ad, always stop and look at the adverts. And I love that advice, because now whenever I see an advert, I'm like, what was the call out there? Why did I stop and watch this? Oh, okay. Because call outs aren't always verbal or written. Sometimes they're a visual thing. For example, I've done a little bit of work with a motorhome app, and we've been doing some social media production for them. It's totally something else on the side. But for the advertising we did with them, the call out was just a motorhome parked in a really peaceful field. It calls out to motorhome owners without saying motorhome owners. It's like, I have a motorhome. What's this? So that's a cool piece of advice as well, is actually, if you want to start getting into learning how to advertise, watch every advert, because it's so interesting to see how all that comes together. And you get loads of ideas about how you could advertise your own thing. Is that making sense so far, Bracken?
Yeah, that's excellent. And that avatar process is, I can't underscore how important that is. And I've got a concrete example of it when I had an interview with a wilderness tribe. And
Oh,
now they work very specifically with men, and they work with men that basically have problems, mental health problems, whatever. And they're like, okay, so we're going to run targeted Facebook ads because these aren't the people that are going out to your village hall or going or we're looking at shopping notice boards. These are people on Facebook. And what time are they on Facebook? Well, they're on Facebook after midnight. And so they were able to run extremely targeted ads during the times where they knew that their target audience was going to be online and looking at stuff. And that meant they could find their target audience really easily and bring them into a group because they knew exactly who they were looking for.
what an amazing example. That's fantastic. It's really, really good. And that's a really powerful thing about, running paid ads is another whole aspect of marketing, because you don't always have to pay to advertise, but if you can pay, you can get a lot of extended reach. And when you pay to run an advert, a lot of people think that they are the customer of Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, but you are not the customer of Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. You are the product. And the customers of Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok are the people that pay to advertise on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And Facebook tracks so much data about you. So when you run an advert on Facebook, for example, like you say, you can specify exactly who the advert gets shown to. So you can say that I want to advertise to anyone in the Norfolk area who has searched the term Facebook, forest school on Facebook in the last month, for example. There's so many things you can stipulate in your advertising. And it's amazing what you can do with that. And we can get onto this a little bit later, but there is ways in your forest school business that you can accommodate for the cost of advertising. We'll talk about that a little bit after the checklist. I'll try and not forget. I'm going to write it down. And so that's Facebook ads. That's a fantastic example of the avatar work, because we hadn't done the thinking that actually, maybe men who are really struggling mentally will be staying up way too late on Facebook. Then they might not have known to put the adverts at that point. And I think that's a super, super interesting case study there of a really niche avatar as well. Advertising to men with mental health problems in your county. If you can find out, what their lifestyle is like and how they live, then you can find out how to market to them. And this ties in really nicely as well with what you're saying about men with mental health problems don't know that actually they could be helped by time at forest school or time in the woods. But by targeting their ads and nailing the avatar work, they're able to show to that man with mental health problems, here's a solution for a problem you didn't know you had, which is amazing. I love that. It's a really, really good example. So that's the avatar work in a nutshell, and that's always the first step of anything you're doing. And my advice would be, don't spread yourself too thin. If you have a really diverse forest school offer, focus on one aspect first. And the reason for that is, it's hard enough to spin all the plates and have the fingers in all the pies and do all the stuff, especially when you're learning something new like marketing. So take one aspect of your provision, if you can, and go all in on that with the marketing until you fill that program, and then rinse and repeat to the next ones. Because if you have toddler groups and home education groups and alternative provision and an after school club and a holiday club, you can't market all of those in the same way. And that's a big mistake that lots of people make, is they pay to advertise, but they show just a shopping list of everything they can possibly do, which is overwhelming for the customer. It's far too overwhelming. Another really, really good book recommendation is a book by Donald Miller called Building a Story Brand. And it's about using storytelling. Bracken's nodding. It's about using storytelling to market your business. And that's all about clarity and simplicity of messages and how much more effective that is. So actually, you're better to go all in on the home education crowd until you've got them, and then move on to the stay and play crowd and fill that program and keep going, rather than trying to market to everyone at once, because it's the targeted adverts to the avatars that work best. So that's the avatar thing. And then next on the checklist, I've got create a September offer and a lead magnet. And this is two separate components. And when I wrote this checklist, I thought about, should I add explanations of what they are? And I decided not to, because I want to encourage that marketing professional development to take place. So I want people to read that and go, what the hell is a lead magnet? And then start Googling and start learning about it. So the two aspects there, create a September offer and create a lead magnet. Now, the September offer is relevant because it's a September checklist. But if we simplify that to create your offer, then your offer in marketing terms is basically, I love it described as the bridge between your customer and your service. So they buy the offer that allows them to walk across the bridge and go into your service. And it's not necessarily a special offer or a discount. It's just a marketing term for the thing that you want people to buy. This is my offer. And there's, again, way beyond the scope of this podcast. There's so much work you can do to make your offer more and more and more desirable and add more and more value and add so many different things. But in a nutshell, this goes back to what I was talking about educating about forest school. Don't just, post everywhere. I've got a full day's home education forest school session. You can book now, because actually people don't necessarily know what that entails. So it might be better to say, Thursday home education forest school club, snacks, lunch, campfire cooking, den building in this beautiful woodland, whatever it might be. Really sell it to people what it is. I love the expression of when you're marketing stuff, it's all about the dream outcome. It's not, we're not selling forest school. We're selling your kid coming back after an amazing day and being like, look at this cool thing I made, and look at this amazing photo of your son building his own rope swing and swinging it between trees. That's what you're selling, is that feeling, is that dream outcome at the end. I love another really good expression is sell the beach, not the plane flight. And I think that's a really, really fun little expression, because if I was selling a holiday, then I could say, this is the holiday, and obviously to fly, we're going to have to get up at 3 a.m. and drive to Stansted, and then there's going to be a lot of queues at security, so we need to queue there, and then we've got to make sure we got all our liquids in a bag, and we might get frisked when we go through security. Maybe they'll shout at us, and then we're going to get through the duty free, and there's going to be loads of people, and we're going to struggle to find our gate, but we'll eventually find it, and we'll run because we'll be running late, and we'll have the heavy bag. That's not selling the holiday at all. I'm selling the holiday in some way. I'm talking about the features of the holiday, but actually I want to sell the beach. I don't want to sell the plane flight. I don't want to draw any attention to the hardship that's involved. I want to draw attention to laying on the beach with a strawberry daiquiri under the palm tree with the waves lapping at your bare feet, and this amazing sunshine that's going to be on your face, and how refreshed you're going to feel, and all this stuff. Like, I really like that little analogy for the way we should be talking about our programs when we're marketing. So that's the offer. So it's like making something that we can sell, packaging up our forest school in a way that looks really nice, that we can put out there. Here's the beach. This is the beach. This is my forest school, and this is what will happen here if you send your child here, or this is the kind of experiences they'll have. And then the second part of that is the lead magnet. So the lead magnet is something that you offer normally for free or for incredibly cheap, that gets someone in the door. So this is exactly what you were saying, Bracken, about cold to warm to hot. Lead magnets are really good for people that are kind of cold into warm. And you are basically giving something away for free, probably at a loss, to get someone to see what you do and realize that they do, in fact, want to buy it. They want to give you money. So a really good example of this from my point of view, and this is really behind the curtain because this is happening right now as we speak. My Forest School September checklist is something I made as a PDF to go with a workshop I was running and some one-to-one back to school consultations I'm doing. But I realized if I gave the checklist away for free, I'm more likely to get customers for the consultation, because they'll see the checklist, they'll go through it, they'll do the work, think, actually, I need help with the implementation of this, and I need help with this. And this guy really knows what he's talking about, so I'm going to get his help with this thing. And sure enough, as a result, 160 people have downloaded my free checklist, and now I've got 160 people that I can contact, that I can chat to, that we can discuss back to school with. I can see if they've got any questions and concerns, and ultimately I can build their trust, and then I can make them the offer. I can say, hey, do you want some more one-to-one help with this? And people have been saying yes. So that's the purpose of a lead magnet. And a lead in marketing, I should say as well, is just someone that you can contact. That's the simplest definition of a lead. A lead is someone who could be a prospective customer. Maybe they're cold, maybe they're warm, maybe they're hot, but they're someone that you can contact about your stuff. And the magnet will get the leads to come to you rather than you having to go out and get the leads. So again, with my checklist, what did I find out by giving that away for free? Well, I found out how to contact 160 people, but also I found out that those 160 people are feeling anxious about going back to school. So there's 160 people there that I can market to and say, hey, you're feeling anxious about going back to school. Don't worry, we've got this. We're going to work on this together. So that is the lead magnet. Now, for a forest school, an ordinary forest school, the very best lead magnet you can have, I'm absolutely sure of it, is a free open day. I think that's the best lead magnet you can have because you get people on the ground, you can blow them away with the forest school ethos, with the sessions, with the games, with the feeling, with the relaxation. You can get the parents and the kids to come together. You can cook them amazing food. It could be a 2-hour open day. It could be a 6-hour open day. You can decide. But the really important thing with your forest school lead magnet is that it's not just a thing people can turn up to. In order to turn up, they have to give you contact details, whether it's through a registration or whether during the open day you take their details down. Maybe you give them a special offer as well and say, thanks so much for coming to my open day. You qualify for a discount for your first 6 sessions if you want to come. So if you book 6 sessions, you get 30% off, whatever the deal might be. And then you've got a way then of turning them into a customer. Now, if you run an open day without being able to collect any contact details and without being able to offer them your offer, then it's not a good lead magnet because you weren't in a position where you could then turn them into customers. And another notice about that as well, I talk really often about open days and lead magnets, and it's about you have to follow up with people really, really fast because there's so much going on in the world. There's so many distractions. People are fickle. They go with other people. Just because they haven't contacted you doesn't mean they're not interested. So when you give out your lead magnet or you run your open day, be sure to follow up really, really fast afterwards and be like, thanks so much for coming. How was the open day for you? What was your favorite part? And then you can get talking to them and you can say, okay, then, here's what we've got going on in September. If I could interest you in coming back. And actually your first session is free. So if you want to do some more free forest school, you can sign up for a block of 5 sessions or something, So that's a great example of a forest school lead magnet. And I think it's really good to make one because, again, going back to what I was saying about the education about forest school, often forest school has to be seen to be believed. And I think from my experience, the first time I witnessed forest school was really magical. And I think that's the same for so many prospective customers and parents, is to actually see the thing, experience the magic, and then as a result, they want to get more of it and they want to buy into it. So that's the lead magnet. And there are other examples of lead magnets I've seen. So a lead magnet could be a really, really cheap first session. So maybe if your sessions are, I don't know, most people charge like between 30 and 50 quid a day, then maybe you could say, actually, the first session is 10 quid for the whole day. Send your kid along. Another example could be a block booking discount. I've also seen people do like forest school kit lists as a lead magnet. I've also seen like 5 great forest school activities you can do at home as a little PDF that people can download in exchange for an email address. That's a great lead magnet. There's so many options, but it's really good to make one. And it'll depend on your kind of forest school business. If, going back to the avatars, if your avatar is schools or settings, then maybe your lead magnet is a case study you send them about a school just like them who employed you to run forest school for them in your woodland, and as a result behavior improved, academic performance improved, the children spent much more time outside, they were much more prepared to be in nature, they were much kinder to each other. Whatever it is, there's so many different ways you can do it, and you have to think about, what does my avatar want? So this is going back to the importance of the avatar again. What do they want? What would they love to have for free? And with the experience of my back to school forest school work I'm doing at the moment, what everyone wants is to know what on earth they're supposed to be doing before September. And the checklist solves that problem completely. And then if they want extra help, I can help them with the implementation. But if not, they've got a checklist and they can use it this September, they can use it the next September, they can use it whenever they like. So that's that's the offer and the lead magnet. I don't know if you had anything to add or ask or anything about that.
That's fantastic. it's really important to kind of put yourself out there. And say, a lot of people don't
I
really
can't hear
know
you very well.
this.
Say,
They,
I
sorry?
don't know. I can't hear you very well. I wonder if you've. Did you have a mic before?
Yep. Is that,
Oh, I can hear you better now. That's it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's, I say, it's really, it's, you're kind of building the connection because there is a bit of a trust, especially if you're running a drop-off session. They've got to know you quite well to leave their children with you.
Yeah.
It's a there's a step of trust there, and also kind of my sessions are comparatively expensive because I deliver that high quality. But before people commit to a big block booking and spend 50 or even £100 for a family, really getting an opportunity to see who I am and what I do is really valuable. And I
Absolutely.
think that's something I could do a lot more with is the free forest school session. So no, please do carry on.
Yeah, and just quickly, if we're all good for time, and I can keep talking this level of detail about the checklist, just a note on price, because I think price is really really important to talk about, because there is a commonly held belief that if people aren't buying my thing, it's because I'm too expensive. And often people lower their prices and they lower their prices and they lower their prices. And actually, what they're really lowering is their self-worth and their motivation to go to work and everything like this. And price is something that is so based on both perceived value and actual value of what you offer. And I spend a lot of time talking about pricing, and it's a lot something we're working on really hard in Norway at the moment, is getting the price right, because I've seen a lot of times, you've probably seen these posts as well. Hi everyone, I'm thinking about running home educated groups, but I just want to know, how much do you charge? So they ask all these other forest school businesses how much they charge, and they get a number. Usually it's quite universal, and they go, great, that's how much I'll charge. And then they go back, they run their home education sessions, and they don't make any money. And then, people talk to me and they say, but I'm working so hard and I've got this many kids, but I'm not making money after my rent on my woodland and my insurance and my equipment and all these other things. And I said, but where did you get your price from? And so often they say, well, I just asked other people what is the going rate, and I moved it on, and I went from that. And what I love about that mindset is there's a really nice thought about it, is that if you copy other people's prices, you're going to have the same results as other people. And it might be that you're copying the prices of lots of other forest schools that are barely making it financially. They're like hanging on by the skin of their teeth, or they're just treating it like a hobby, or the forest school leader isn't taking a salary, whatever it might be. And the thing with price is that so much of the perceived value of something comes from the price. And there was an interesting case study from someone I spoke to who, they were running a 2-hour stay and play with toddlers, and it was a fiver per family to come. And lots of people were booking and not showing up. And when they reluctantly raised the prices, the demand for the stay and play actually went up, and people made sure they attended. They didn't miss it, because it was really disheartening for this practitioner, because she was getting all these bookings, turning up to the woods, lighting the fire, getting all the kit out, and then only 1 or 2 babies would turn up, even though 10 were booked on. And she found that when she raised the price, everyone turned up, and there was even more demand for the thing. And this is a really good example with price, is that only, there is no advantage to being the second cheapest on the market. I love that expression. There is an advantage. If you're the absolute cheapest, then you're going to get, the people that are really limited in what they can charge. But there is an advantage to being the most expensive. And it's a really fine line, and it's all about how you sell your thing and how you market it. But ultimately, if what you have is packaged up really well and it looks really good and it's really valuable, and you've done the pricing, you've got your margin sorted, you're taking a profit, you're taking a salary, you charge what you charge, and that's it. And I really love that. And there's another really good, I'm going to drop in all the recommendations for marketing books, people. Daniel Priestley is an awesome guy to follow. And he talks about with or without you energy. And this is the idea that if you get your pricing right and you're confident in your business model and you're really happy with what you're offering, you market everything with or without you energy. And what it does is it takes the desperation out of the sale. So it's like, you can come if you want. We're with or without you. We're doing this. But if you want to come, then feel free to book. But we're doing it. And that people do feel that, especially with small businesses. If the small business really needs that sale, they're going to be trying to offer discounts or doing everything, being really pushy to get someone to buy. Whereas if you've got with or without you energy and your pricing is exactly how you want it for what you need, then you have that control and you have that confidence in what you offer. So I'm always interested in price, and I think a lot of forest schools are hugely underpriced. And
Yeah, I don't know how some even cover their operating costs.
no, absolutely. And so many people, I think, have a perception that well, I couldn't afford to pay more than that. So that's what I'm going to charge, because if I was a parent, that's the price I'd want to pay. And that's very good and very honorable. But you might be in a neighborhood where there's people willing to pay 10 times as much to do the same thing. Or maybe you need to tweak your offer slightly so it is worth more money, and then you can charge more. I think it's really important. And a general rule of thumb with pricing, I think, is whatever your pricing is going to be, price for the everyday attendance of your forest school program. So a really good example, if you typically get 5 kids to attend, okay, and if you decide, as a forest school practitioner, I want to make 150 quid a day, then you should not charge £30 a day, because if the 5 kids that are attending all the time, that's you making your money. But if you have less, you're losing money. And if you have more, it's a winner. But if you're priced slightly higher, you can afford to lose a couple of kids, still keep the joy in the work, still keep the income coming in, and anything extra is a bonus. Your operating costs should not equal full capacity of your program. That's the really important thing. It should be that full capacity is a bonus to what is going on.
Yeah, I will admit I got hit by that when I first started out
Yeah,
massively. It was like, okay, well, if I get all 20 spaces of my 10 sessions, so it's 2 sessions per day, 10 children per session. So I just go divide the amount that I need to earn by that amount. And that that was a recipe for disaster. I'm still digging myself out of that hole now,
yeah,
slowly
yeah.
getting to the pricing where it needs to be. And that's really valuable to think about what you get average, because as I'd said in the podcast that I did earlier in the week, was if you're working with someone like home educating families, they have different things going on. They'll go on a holiday at this time of year. They'll go away on a different a different home ed trip at this time. They'll go away and see family at another time, and you will have natural fluctuations. And if you are heading into the red or barely making anything, you're not going to be able to carry on running.
Yeah, and those home ed families, or any customer for that example, don't know how much you're struggling by them going away, and the pain it's causing you. And if they knew, they would probably be absolutely devastated, because if they really value your service, they'd be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry that we didn't come, we didn't pay you," and whatever it is. It's really important to be pricing yourself fairly, and don't be afraid to charge good money for stuff. I think is a really good thing, because what you offer is a good thing. So charge a good price.
Yeah,
And
I'm a big fan. If don't get involved in a race to the bottom.
yeah,
Think about, rather than decreasing your price, think about increasing your value, and go and do those
yeah,
CPDs. And that
exactly.
anyway, I
Yeah.
we are on for more than an hour and a half, which probably puts us
Wow.
as the longest podcast
Oh my goodness.
I've done. So I'm we're probably going to need to make it like 2 part or 3 part and come back and do another
Wow.
podcast interview, which would be fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, before we start wrapping up, we have a question from YouTube, Edward
Yeah.
Brisley.
Yeah.
So he says, the woods near me are jam-packed with leftover dens and shelters. How important is the breakdown at the end? If at all in public woodlands. Have either of you gotten into scrapes with the locals?
Mm, that's hard, isn't it? I think in a public woodland, even if you would hope that other people would use your den, and certainly as a kid, I remember playing in dens that other people had built in public woodlands. I think, I think it's a good habit to at least collapse and break down dens, I think. And have I got into scrapes in public woodlands? I absolutely have. I remember being 15, 16 years old, getting into bushcraft, just go to the woods and have a fire. Turns out you're not allowed to just rock up in some public woods and have a fire. But I didn't know that at the time. But absolutely have got into some scrapes with that. But it's good learning. It's certainly got to be respectful of public woodlands and stuff. But having access to a public woodland as close as what Edward is saying there, then you've got huge opportunities for, if you have kids, you could buy some fantastic forest school books. I can see some on the shelf behind you, like Forest School Adventure. That's a great book. Give yourself some ideas and get out in the local woodlands with your kids and make the stuff in the book. No need for a forest school or anything to be able to do that.
Yeah, as I operate almost entirely on public woodlands, the one woodland that I operate that privately own is amazing because I get to leave shelters up and we get to make furniture and all sorts of cool stuff. My perspective, it's depends on the size of the park, depends on how busy the area it is that you are using. So for one of my sites, I work in Worley Woods near Birmingham, and essentially it's a big park, it's well maintained, it's got a trust, and we use a small section that is off the beaten track. And so we have a lot of sessions running through there every week. There is no way to completely erase our presence. There's no way to hide all of the stumps that we need for seating. So we're kind of working with the trust and saying, okay, well, this is the area that we're going to use for forest school. So there will be some leftover things, but we will try and remove anything that's man-made, anything that's obvious. We'll try and clean up and reduce our impact. So if we make a lot of wood chippings, we'll move those into the bushes. If we've had a fire, we'll make sure the ashes are disposed of well away. And occasionally we will leave a kind of shelter up because the local children, there's usually places in the woods where the local children will build shelters anyway. If it's right on the main path and there's a whole lot of traffic going through, then that might be a different thing, and that might be a conversation if you have with a ranger or whatever local. But yeah, I'd say if you can, try to leave much trace. But if it has to happen, then I say you can't completely erase your presence. We have an impact on the land, no matter how much we try not to.
And I think it's just to add, is even if it's a public woodland, if you want to use it for personal use and stuff like that, it's always good to find out from the landowner what you are and aren't allowed to do. And it might be actually, I know people that have approached landowners of a small woodland that's near their house, public or otherwise private, and the landowner said, you are welcome to come here, practice bushcraft, have fires, make craft stuff. I'd just be grateful to see someone using and managing the wood a little bit, and bring me a bottle of single malt every couple of months. That'll be fine. So there's lots of little things you can do if you're got a little woodland near to you. One thing I'm just thinking, Bracken, before we wrap up, is I've been talking at great length about this checklist and I haven't finished the last two items on it. Should I really quickly, in 2 sentences, tell you what the last 2 items on the checklist are?
Or should we tell them to go away, and if they want to know the last 2 items, get to checklist?
Then they have to, the call to action. Come back for part 2.
Call to action.
Yeah, exactly. Good. Yes.
So I've already got the Facebook group and your website linked below.
Yeah.
And I think that was the main things. Wanted to connect.
Yeah.
And Edward says, great response. Cheers, both. Yeah, hope that's helpful. Scrapes for the locals. That's going to be something that happens. Just focus on the silent majority, which are really actually very happy to see you using a woodland and getting children outdoors. vast majority will walk through and they'll go, "Oh, isn't it fantastic? They're having a childhood like I used to have." So just focus on the positives. Don't let negative people get you. Anyway, so
Brilliant.
we've probably covered the question that I ask most of the at the end of sessions completely. But if you had to just boil it down to one thing that new practitioners or people in the outdoors in this outdoor space would really benefit from, if you had to distill all the wisdom down into one bit of advice, what would that be?
This is another expression that I really, really love, which is that so many people wait for the perfect conditions to get started, but getting started is the perfect condition. And I'll follow that up by saying that if you want to get out in nature and you want to be a forest school practitioner and you want to, deliver value to either teaching kids or teaching adults, or you want to become an experienced outdoorsman and go on amazing expeditions or climb Everest, whatever it is, just get started.
Yep,
Close the
journey of
laptop,
1,000
having watched
miles.
this. Yeah, yeah. Go out for a walk, take it in, listen to nature, read some books. Yeah, be out, practice, build up your skills, build up your confidence, and it will come in time. Yeah, everyone has to get started.
No, thank you. This has been amazing. I know we could probably go on for hours and hours, even on just the topic of marketing alone, and it's a really broad space. So I'm definitely interested in a round two if you're up for that at some point.
Absolutely. I would love
We'll
it too.
get
I've
that.
really enjoyed talking. Yeah.
We'll get there in the calendar. And if you would like to see the rest of that checklist and get yourself September ready, or just go, I highly recommend that Facebook group. I've got a link to that. Go on there, give a little bit, give some advice, get some support. You're not on your own. That's the important thing. There are people there out to help you. And if you want really good in-person, in-depth advice, then go talk to Asa. We have a link to his website as well.
Wonderful. Yeah. And one more thing to say is that if you're listening to this from somewhere other than the UK, you are most welcome in the group. We've got members from New Zealand, members from Australia, members from America, members from Canada. The global forest school community is represented there and everyone's up for helping. So
Just remember to note your location and post. We've had some confusing ones where
yeah.
we okay, yeah, or when you share a business opportunity, we can't hit into that. Make sure you let us know where you have. I've seen stuff. I've gone, oh, that sounds amazing. Oh, Austria. Okay, that's
Yeah.
going to be a little bit of a trip. But
Yeah.
anyway, thank you so much, Asa. I will
Thank you.
we'll end things there. Thank you so much for everyone. Remember to like and subscribe, and we'll have the podcast episode out soon. Thank you so much.